Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry, it's been a little longer than a week. I think it's been about 10 days, something like that. But I think I'm going to tonight talk about my favorite drummers. Hell, it's hanging with Drummer Boy Jones, and I haven't really talked about myself playing drums or my favorite drummers right after this. How's it going? Thank you for checking out this episode. It's hanging with Drummer Boy Jones, and I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. Remember what the Memorial Day weekend's for. Uh, all of our veterans, our current military that do the things where we can live the way we live here in America, and it's very appreciative. I have had my grandfather was in World War II. Um, I don't have current, but I do have some friends, some ones that's passed away, and new people, and uh, so thank you for your service, and I appreciate it, even though it's a day late. But thank you very much, so we can live the way we live here in the greatest country in the world, United States of America. So, just to give you a little update, or not an update, but an introduction for some of the people that don't know who I am. Real name is Chris Jones, John Christopher Jones. Born in 1972. Normal kid growing up, had friends, had family, had great friends, great family. Um, and then I'm going to say 1984-ish, something like that. The music bug bit me. And a good friend of mine, Corey Smith, and I tell him all the time he's the reason I'm the way I am. But so he'd come over. He'd come over and spend the night. We'd stay at my grandparents, and I don't know if you can see this stereo that's behind me right here. It's this one right there. So that was in my grandparents' bedroom, and that thing jams. I mean, it's got two big old speakers. It's got a huge power amp in it. But so Corey brought over that I think that he had got from his stepbrother, Philip Beasley, the Shout at the Devil record. And we put it on, and all of a sudden, everybody knows Shout at the Devil, but, in the beginning, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is insane. And it changed me completely. I went, I love sports, still to this day love sports, still love NASCAR, football, basketball, college basketball. And still I love sports, and I played football in junior high. But that changed my world. Absolutely changed my world. I was just like, holy shit, what, speaking, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump all over the place. Budweiser. So I got a new Dale Jr. hat, and it's an old replica of Budweiser, and I can't really show you. I might put a clip up here. I was all things Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt was my hero. I hope you enjoyed the Coca-Cola 600, a hell of a race. Ross Chastain. I like Ross Chastain. I really do like, and I'm a Chevy guy, So my dad used to tell me one time we moved because his neighbor bought a Ford. Just kidding, but we're Chevy guys. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. I just completely off topic, but yeah, I still am a big NASCAR fan. Sure, it's like everything else. Oh, it ain't like it used to be. and music's not like it used to be, and movies ain't like it used to be. Well, it's because we're all getting freaking old and we don't enjoy shit like we used to. So enjoy it for what it is. And I do. I don't even pull for nobody anymore. I went from Earnhardt to Dale Jr. to Kevin Harvick. And I followed Harvick all the way till, guess what? They went into Fords. And I wasn't a Harvick fan no more. I was always a Harvick fan. I love Kevin Harvick. But I couldn't pull because I couldn't put a damn blue oval on my shirt that says Ford. Sorry, just me. But, sorry, went off on a tangent. But I did hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. But getting back to the crew. So, yeah, Corey brought this over, and it changed my life. From, that eerie in the beginning to, it opens up with Shout at the Devil. And, yeah. So this was like in 84. So Theater Pain had not come out yet. And so in 85, Corey's mother took me and Corey to Rivergate, get ready for school. And so he was like, that new Motley Crue come out, and it was Theater of Pain. And I'm going to do a Crue thing here before long. Crue was my favorite band. And I love Motley, but, we'll get into them later. But, yeah, so we went, and then you get Shout at the Devil, and they're all made up, and they're studs, and they're black leather, and then you get Theater of Pain, and they're glammed out. I was fixated looking like Poison, but Poison wasn't even out at that time. But, they was all pink and makeup, and at the time, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Looking back, theater blows. But anyway, that's sort of how I got into music. Then in 1987, I can remember to this day, 7/7/70, that's my birthday. July the 7th, 1987, Motley Crue played the Municipal Auditorium on the Girls, Girls, Girls tour. Whitesnake opened up for them. And I just remembered Whitesnake, so I hope I don't forget Tommy Aldridge, but he's another one of my favorite drummers. But, I seen Tommy, and that was my first major concert. And, Tommy's doing, you can YouTube the Girls tour, and he's doing that spinning drum set and all of that stuff. Once again, completely changed my dad took me and Corey and Fryman, and I think Rodney Gent was with us. I can't remember who all was with us, but a bunch of kids by himself took us to this Crue show. And everybody's messed up and screwed up, and here we are, a bunch of 13, 14, 15-year-old guys, and it was a game changer. I started wearing concert shirts every day, and this was in 87, so 97, 2007, 2017. Close to 40 years later, I still wear concert shirts all the time. Even though it's into May, 1st of June, I'm having to wear a freaking hoodie. But, yeah, I told Dad, I was like, I got to have a set of drums. That's what I got to do. I got to do that right there. I've got to do that. And I was always sort of pretty good at keeping time, and I sort of had an ear for, okay, I can hear him hit the bass drum, I hear him hit the snare drum, crash, the hi-hat, the ride. I knew, I could hear that. So I had an ear for it, and so my dad was like, I tell you what, we'll get you a set of drums. It took a week or two, but he found a set of old Slingerlands and bought those. And of course, I wanted the new Pearls because that's what Tommy played, and the Chrome set. And if you watch my Reggie video earlier with him, I wanted a good Chrome set of drums and blah, blah, blah. But he's like, if you'll play them and you'll play them and I can see you're making an improvement, we'll get you another set. But this is one to start with. Broke cymbals, like I said, 1969 Slingerland set of drums, double bass drums, 2 mounted toms, 2 floor toms, blue sparkle. That's badass. But I was still a snot-nosed kid, and I wanted pearls. I should have my ass kicked because those drums is probably worth a fortune now. But anyways, I got the pearls after a year. Played every day at home. And come home from school, play drums till bedtime. Every day. Had, developed calluses and blisters. And, back in the day, you didn't have YouTube or cell phones and all this. So you just had to listen, And I didn't have headphones. So I moved my dad's stereo into the damn living room. Front room, I guess you could say, at our old house. Had my set of drums, and I turned the stereo up just as loud as it'd go where I could hear it when I was playing. And that's how I learned songs. Some of the first songs I ever learned, I remember doing Stripers Honestly. That was pretty, laid back, simple. Maybe a little crew. I learned, Smoking in the Boys' Room. Sweet Child of Mine, I think, had come out. I had learned Talk Dirty to Me. And, but Dad seen I was making progress, so we upgraded. He got me a set of pearls. I didn't have double bass or nothing like that, but I did get a new set of pearls. And there's a purplish blue color. And then I seen Ricky Rocket. And guess what? Ricky Rocket's drums was poison green. And I loved Ricky's style and his tricks and his hair and all of that stuff. So then I didn't want pearl silver drums no more. I wanted pearl poison green drums. So Dad took them to his buddy Vin Klein, which painted cars for a living. And I think he bought we stripped all the drums, took all the hardware off, and he painted them some bitches. I think it was a Dodge neon green. It was pretty damn close to poison green. And then game on, and so I'm not going to go through all the, the drum sets. I've had a gazillion drum sets and this set and that set and this set. But I just wanted to give you sort of a story of, sort of how I started playing. So I never took lessons, never, until early 90s, 92, 93, something like that. And Poison, of course, everything's intertwined. Poison was coming. And, of course, I always went to the drum shops in Rivergate or Gallatin or Nashville or whatever. And there was a little drum shop in Rivergate. And it said, meet Michael Cardelloni of the Damn Yankees this day, this time, whatever. So I was like, hell yeah, I won't come. I love the Damn Yankees. Still love the Damn Yankees. So Michael come in, which he now plays for Leonard Skinner. Super nice guy. Super, super nice guy. And like I said, I never took lessons or anything like that. And he was going to start giving drum lessons at his house. So I signed up. I was like, hell yeah. It was like, $50, $60 an hour. I don't remember. Hell, it might have been $80 an hour. I don't know. But I was like, well, hell, it's worth that just to sit at his house and talk to him, But, man, I got to play, there's a video on Damn Yankees. I don't know. There's a live video. He's playing this big white pearl set, and it's just awesome. And that's the drum set he gave lessons on. I got to play it. And he had set them up left-handed for me because I'm bass backwards or ass backwards or whatever you want to say. So he set them up backwards for me, and then he had another set in front of me. And we'd trade off. And then he started teaching me rudiments. He started teaching me hand stretches that I still do this day, stretching my hands and drumsticks and things like that. And, I probably should have practiced more because I could probably have been a lot better. But I started getting an understanding of things, double stroke rolls, triples, just all the, paradiddles and all that kind of stuff. And I would get a better understanding, but I had practiced so long, day in and day out and day in and day out. I was like, I'm good enough. And that's a problem. I was good enough, but I wasn't that good. You know what I'm saying? And I never became a great drummer. You know, I'm decent. You know, I can hold a beat. And one thing I am proud of, I'm time. I understand time, and I think I'm pretty solid. All the Neil Peart, no, I can't do it. But so that's sort of my introduction to you guys of how I started playing, and I went in bands, this band, that band, this band. You can go on and go on. My last band, and probably the last band I ever been in, was Mama Tried. And if you hear my introduction, so we put out a CD, and I'm very proud of that. And I think the guys was very proud of that. But anyway, that's the opening riff to Lorraine that is on our CD. So if you ever get a chance, type in Mama Tried on Spotify. It's still on Apple Music. Might even have a hard copy still around somewhere. I doubt it. Actually, I know I don't. But, and I do. I've been really wanting to make it into a vinyl record too, just because I collect vinyl records. And damn, they're high. Wow. But so yeah. So enough of the bullshit. So let's get into some of my favorite drummers. So I've made a list. Check it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. I'm not your typical Neil Peart of Rush, as everybody's. Yes, I respect Neil Peart. Neil Peart was amazing. Absolutely amazing. He wasn't my favorite drummers. I totally respect what he did. Rest in peace. And I just never was a Rush fan. It was a little too progressive for me. But that's just me. I mean, but no, his drumming abilities, oh my gosh. Yeah, he probably was the best. But wasn't for me. So I'm just looking down on my list and going through, John Bonham. I play a Bonham Ludwig classic maple set. I love John Bonham. I love Led Zeppelin. John Bonham changed the game. Here he is playing, triplets on his feet, and you're like, that had to be a double bass drum. No, it's single pedal, and amazing triplets all over the drum. I mean, triplet crazy. Love John Bonham. But I mean, when I fell in love with the drums, hell, I didn't know who Led Zeppelin was. I mean, I was a kid growing up in the mid '80s. My dad's a huge Bob Seger fan. That's Seger and the Stones is about the only thing I knew in the mid '80s. Going back now, looking at it, oh man, did I miss a lot of stuff? And I got a lot of stuff to catch up on, and I did. Zeppelin, Stones, the Beatles, Humble Pie. Skinner. I mean, list is too long to mention. Just over and over. I do love Bob Seger, though. God, I love Bob Seger. But, okay, so after that, so I've mentioned Bonham, mentioned Neil Peart. I had mentioned Ricky Rocket earlier. Ricky is probably not the most technical, solid player, and maybe I liked him so much because I could play a lot of what he did. But his style, his hair, I mean, this is the 80s. Everything was perfect for me. Poison always caught shit that they was not good, and so what? They sold millions of records, and they was on the radio. I wasn't. Most of the people bashing him wasn't. So shut the fuck up, Alex Van Halen, unbelievable talent, and would follow a lot of Eddie's riffs. And of course, you know Eddie Van Halen. I mean, greatest guitar player in the world. Alex is probably one of the greatest drummers in the world. I loved his sound. Played Ludwig's too. You know, he had that snare sound that everybody talks about. It's just, when you hear it, it's Alex. And he done some crazy times, all this shuffling on the bass drum and double bass shuffles, and amazing. Love Alex. Getting on into like Troy Luccketta of Tesla. Not your average. Well, Tesla was not a hair band as far as I'm concerned. I know they got looped into that, but amazing drummer. His shuffling and his bass drums and he was really good at just, I mean, he'd fly through the tones on the road, just, you know, and without overkill, you know, I mean, it fit the song, and I thought that was pretty cool. Bert, what's his name? The guy from Shinedown. Bert, what is Bert's name? Bert, is it Bert? I can't remember. Really good. I like him too as a newer drummer. He's really good. Tico Torres, Bon Jovi. Tico played what had to be played or what should be played. He did not do nothing special, but he was a solid metronome machine and played drums for one of the biggest rock bands in the world. Love Tico, especially the, you know, simple boom, 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 boom. Lay your hands on me, boom, 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 boom. Very simple, but very effective. Not overkill. I love that. So, Stephen Sweet of Warrant. As much as I love Warrant, it's not a huge Stephen Sweet fan. Sorry. I like Stephen, I mean, but his drumming, I don't know, something about it was just a little off to me. However, I love Warrant, and he played on my favorite songs in the world. But his style, which I think he is left-handed too, but he didn't cross over. You know, he was always playing this, and then he'd go to right-handed and play his right over here. Crazy, which people, you know, Jason Hawks, our guitar player, which he's going to be on the show next, so look out for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Jason, you know, was always like, I don't look at regular drummers anymore. Me and Jason played for 13, 14 years together, and he's like, you're left-handed, so all the other drummers don't look right to me anymore. So you know, with Steven, he was unorthodox, I guess you could say, you know, different style, so maybe it just didn't fit. And but I mean, still good. Michael Foster, Firehouse, solid drummer. And I love his sound. He has got one of the best sounds. And if you've listened to Firehouse and, you know, all of that stuff, Don't Treat Me Bad, and that first album, the drums are just insanely produced. Very, very good. Rick Allen, Def Leppard. I'm not the hugest Def Leppard fan there is. I do like Def Leppard. And I've seen them several times. Rick Allen, after he had his car accident and lost his arm, and of course, when they come out with Hysteria, that was about the time that I was starting to learn drums, and I was like, one arm, it's all computer. Boy, was I a dumbass. This guy is the most determined, inspirational person. Like I said, he's not one of my favorite drummers, but the things he can do with one arm and 2 feet. And they built their drums. Of course, they're going to be electric, but amazing. I think his determination and what he's done in one of the biggest rock bands in the world, something to be said. Very, very inspirational. And and I seen him do some solo stuff. I think Mirror Ball. There's a drum solo on their live record, Mirror Ball. Listen to that. You know, he outplays 90% of us drummers with one arm than we could do with two. Especially me, but that's given. But a lot of your drummers out there can't do what he does. So Slug Mitchell, and I'd done a show previously on Marvelous 3, and Slug was the drummer for Marvelous 3 Southgate. I liked Slug. You know, Slug's from Atlanta. Very good drummer. I liked his fills. Another one that didn't overfill, didn't underfill. He done, I think, what was right for the song. So I really like Slug. And now I'm going to talk about two drummers that are local to where I am here. And I grew up seeing them in clubs. And they was a huge inspiration for me. And matter of fact, I'm going to reach out to both of them and see if they would like to come on the show. They'll probably tell me to go, F myself, and that's fine. But I do want to shout out Jim Phipps, Every Mother's Nightmare. Nashville hard rock band that I absolutely love. Their first two records, Self-Titled and Wake Up Screaming, is two of my favorite all-time records. And I say that a lot. Y'all probably like, damn, every record here is his all-time favorite. But, okay, so Every Mother's Nightmare. I think highly of their two records. Really like them. Jim worked at Forks Drum Closet. He was in Every Mother's Nightmare. Chad Ramsey, I bought a cymbal off Chad. It's still over here. It's a pasty cymbal. And he said he bought it from Jim at, I think, Forks Drum Closet when he worked there. And they said, it was his Every Mother's Nightmare. I still play it to this day. I've had it for 30 years. I still play it. So I want to take a picture of it, show it to Jim, say, how many ride cymbals did he have? But anyways, so check it out. Good drummer, double bass drummer on a lot of his, not a lot, but, some of his stuff, he was one of the first people that played a double bass drum in a single mounted tom. And when I first seen it, I was like, that's weird looking. He wore it out. The second drummer was Billy Baker. Billy Baker was the drummer for Valentine Saloon. And they had, I think the record was Super Duper. And it's definitely not hair band. It's more psychedelic and things like that. And they was a great band. And actually, they still play some in Nashville. And I've chatted a time or two with Billy on Facebook. He has his own drum company, Baker's Drums, and man, he was badass. He played sort of a Zeppelin type set. A big kick drum, one up, two down, and I looked up to him. And that super duper record was amazing. If I don't know if it's on Apple, I've got it on CD. And, speaking of CD, so I bought an old little stereo. It's a new one, but, CD cassette, AM, FM, where I could play some CDs. And my good buddy that I had talked about earlier, I've gotten reacquainted with my good friend Rodney Gent. And he's got some old cassettes of us practicing and all that. I think Michael Mandrell, I played with him as well. And we was in a band called Joker's Wild. And this was like I was actually still in high school. And that was during the Leather and Lace. And me and Michael, and I think his Dan McDonald, Chris Fryman. And Michael Mandrell had an old cassette of that. So I've got to see if I can get that and talk to Michael again. So that'd be cool. But I'm going to wrap this up. So, of course, probably my number one was Tommy Lee. I loved his style. His arms is always, he's twirling and flipping and, and all this. I think Tommy changed the game. Tommy didn't do nothing that hadn't been done, but for me, he was a true inspiration. I loved his style. I loved his looks. I loved his drum sets. There's the Bad Boys of Rock and Roll. There's a picture up here of me and Tommy. I got to meet him one time. He's super sweet. I'm going to see if I can move this around. But in this white case there, right there, is a sign symbol of Motley, and it's got Tommy's sticks in it. Tommy was, at the time, very gracious. He gave me, we had front row seats. He found me in the crowd because I had met him earlier in the day and gave me his drumsticks, their head drumsticks. This is the 94 Karabi tour. Maybe that's the reason I got to meet them. I don't know. It wasn't their Vince heydays or nothing like that, even though the 94 record is, once again, one of my all-time favorites. But Tommy, they was gracious. They also signed my cymbal. I had a busted cymbal, and I took it with me. They all signed it. Tommy give me, I promise you guys, and most people, yeah, sure he did. I told him I was in the front row, and he done this number, and I was sitting here. He brought them over and gave them to me, and they're in that case as well. And he was a true inspiration. And Spider, ding. So I've lost a lot of respect for Tommy lately. He's become a douche, and I hate to say that because he was my hero growing up, my drumming hero. A lot of these rock stars, they get on Facebook, hey, their own personal opinions, and if they want to put it just like the rest of us do, you can put your personal opinions on Facebook. That's fine. And it's all political bullshit that's going around, but when you tell your fans that if you voted a certain way, fuck you and don't come to our shows anymore, then I have a problem. And I did have a problem. I said, well, fuck you, Tommy. I'm not going to any more Motley Crue shows. And I haven't been, and I'm not going to. And it's, I don't give a shit who you vote for if you're, back then a Trump or a Biden or whoever, whatever her name was that was running for office. I don't give a shit. I know how I'm going to vote, and I know why I'm voted. But when you tell me that if I vote a certain way, you're not my fan, well, that's stupid. That's bullshit. You're alienating half of your fan base. Now, if he had come out and says, I don't like Trump, but if you like Trump, good for you, then case closed. But he comes out and says, if you voted for Trump, you're a fucking idiot, and don't ever buy no Motley Crue or come to Motley Crue shows, or after Trump supposedly, I say supposedly, got shot, or, first thing he done was like, damn, he missed. That's the worst thing that happens is a guy missed. Have a little taste, I mean, sorry, didn't mean to get on a political rant, but sometimes you got to, and that's what I try to say on all my shows. Everybody's opinion is important. Your opinion is important to you. My opinion is important to me. But if you don't agree with my opinion, I'm not going to call you an idiot and stupid and don't talk to me. That's stupid. So, with that being said, I'm going to, I just wanted to throw something out because Jason's coming in the next couple of days. We're going to talk about a little bit of our time in Mama Tried, how Jason grew up, and then also we've got some albums that we're wanting to talk about. And I'm looking forward to that. Jason's a brother of mine and still a brother to this day, and I love Jason a lot. So, hope you enjoyed this show. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Of course, like, subscribe, do all that good kind of stuff. Share it with your friends. And I know you guys have, a bunch of you guys have liked my Facebook channel where I post all these. But if you could do me a favor and actually go onto YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube account and like my YouTube account, it would be much appreciated. Like I said, I got 60-something followers on YouTube. I think you got to have 1,500 to get into making, $1 a minute, or not $1 a minute, but $1 a show. I'm not doing this for money. I enjoy this. I like doing it. So, but it does help where the more people that does like it, sort of pushes it out there where more people can see it. And so that'd be much appreciated. As always, be good to one another. Be good to your friends. Be good to your family. And be nice until it's time to not be nice. In the immortal words of Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse. Love you guys. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this, to watch this, and I appreciate it. And God bless all of you. See you next time. Peace.